guys, welcome back to Exploding Dice Gaming. I'm Andy.
I'm still Tom.
Yeah, we've worked that out this time, and we're back with another Conquest update. It's been a busy 6 weeks.
Yeah, it always gets busy this time of year.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, it has been 6 weeks. For some reason, it took another week for our subscription to be delivered.
Yep.
I suspect that's more down to the fact that it's Christmas. Both G-Dubs and the Postal Service are going to be running ragged at the moment. And then it took us an additional week. Well, it certainly took me an additional week to finish last month's projects because I'm slow and easily distracted.
Yeah, to be fair, my last month's projects and the month before that, and I think the month before that have been redone as well. So
yeah, well, even so, in the time that we've been given, you've got to go on. So, what did we have last month? We got some more paints. It was the shades, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
So that was brought into the fold for the new hobbyist. We also got 6 more Poxwalkers, a Primaris Librarian, and the Nurgle Tachikoma.
Yeah. Very tempted to paint mine up blue, but I went for the classic green in the end.
Yeah, it's not actually called a Tachikoma, but I can't help but see it as anything but.
It's definitely the cutest tank in 40k.
Right now. I was going to say I'm sure the sisters will have something to say about that, but they have an organ firing rocket launcher.
You call the sisters cute at your peril.
So I just did the Poxwalkers up the same way I did the last set. Just purple, oranges, and plain colours for the cloth, black for all the strapping, metal for the metal, rusted up the weapons, and green for all the boils. Doing my pallid hand scheme on the Plague Burst Crawler? No. That's the
mortar.
That's the mortar thing. I've forgotten what this thing is actually called.
So have I.
Light hauler?
Maybe? I don't think so. We'll just call it the Death Guard vehicle, and then people will think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, because of course we know what we're talking about. The Death Guard vehicle was interesting, mostly because I hadn't done it over such large flat surfaces before. And if anyone else out there has tried to do a light colour scheme on a large surface, it's quite difficult. In fact, most colour schemes are quite difficult once you start applying it to large flat surfaces. The vehicles you've got to be really careful with your painting to get the base colours nice and even. As I'm sure you found with a Space Marine or a Death Guard miniature, all of the nooks and crannies sort of break up the miniature, so it makes it easier for sort of things to blend. Whereas when you've got large flat metal plates and things, it just makes it really, really difficult to
to get the right effect.
Get the right effect. But and then the Primaris was very simple, just blue and cream for the robes, and just did up the shoulder pad like a Blood Raven shoulder pad.
Yeah, I feel like I had an easier time with my Death Guard vehicle because basically I went for standard Death Guard green base coat, and then all of the detailing on it, all of the extra stuff on the panels is washes or typhus corrosion. Right. So the typhus corrosion breaks it all up for me.
Yeah. You've gone for a very dirty Death Guard.
Yeah, it doesn't look neat and tidy.
Yeah. The thing is that I was also trying to do like a clean scheme, but still make it look like it's weeping and rusty and diseased, and I think I've made myself a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I think yours has come out really nicely though. I think if you put the two miniatures side by side, yours is definitely the more impressive of the pair in terms of painting. I think it's come out really nicely, and it's clear that you spent days upon days working on that thing, whereas mine was done in an afternoon.
Yeah, but speaking of challenges, I've noticed something new.
Yeah, so...
Your Space Marines are not black and red anymore.
No, they're not.
Why are they blue?
Well, I've always been an Ultramarines fan. I don't think that that's a secret. I think some in the gaming circle had hoped that it was dead and buried with the end of 7th edition.
No.
But when they announced the new Marnius Calgar miniature, I just fell in love with it and I wanted to have it. And I thought, well, there's no point buying Marnius just on his own. I could have, but if I'm going to have him, I'm going to want to use him. And if I'm going to want to use him, I'm going to want to use him with Ultramarines, not with my custom chapter. A few people suggested painting him up in the custom chapter colours.
Yeah, we wouldn't have minded.
Yeah, I just felt like it wouldn't have worked as nicely. And whilst I am doing Ultramarines, I'm not doing the colour scheme straight out of the book for Ultramarines. I've gone much brighter with it, because I think that works as a much nicer contrast to the darker Death Guard that I've got going on.
They do look very nice. They are very, very nice. You've actually pushed the boat out on your painting skills a little bit with some trying to really nail that edge highlighting.
Yeah, I'm still very much learning. I'm not a good painter, but I'm enjoying doing it, and I feel like that's...
I'm just looking at it, even from the back here, I can see that you've been really careful around doing all of the detail on the aggressors, and it does make it work, so just keep at it, mate.
Thanks,
You're doing well. So, we've mentioned the aggressors.
Yeah, those were actually technically for next month's video.
Yes!
I just got excited. And...
Well, you always seem to go... You do paint faster than me. I'm not going to lie about that. I get distracted quite easily. I always think I'm going to take my time, I'm going to do something, and then as I noticed, okay, let's put this way. The Plagueis Crawler was done like two weeks ago. The Primaris Librarian was finished at about 6 o'clock yesterday, and then in about 2 hours before I went to bed last night, I finished the Poxwalkers. Mostly because I was like, wait, I really should finish these guys before I move on. You had already finished all of your stuff. It turned up, no harm in opening it all up, and then you went, I want to do the Primaris Calgar challenge, and went completely blue. And you have converted everything that has been sent from through Conquest into Ultramarine colours in 2 weeks?
2 weeks, I think. Yeah, maybe just a little over.
And
like
you've done them well. So...
Yeah, I mean, I just really like painting. I'm not good at it, but I find it relaxing. And I feel like that's probably true of more people in the hobby than you would think when you look at like the 40k Reddit and all of that, where sometimes it feels as though you have to be Golden Demon standard to even pick up a brush, and that's just not true. It's
not true, and nor is it true that you need to play the super hardcore gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning on doing an all Primaris force. Although we have just learned that we're getting a whole bunch of non-Primaris stuff because we actually looked at the poster just before we started the video.
Yeah, so the also thing that we got last month was the Conquest folder, and we have finally found all of our magazines and put them into our folders in the order. Interesting order that they've been given to it in given the pages in a reasonable format for the magazine, and then you realise it's actually all out of order for what they want you to put it into your folio.
Yeah.
So that was a good half hour of working out which pages everything was. But I've lost my train of thought again.
But yeah, we came across the poster when we were doing that, and it turns out we're going to be getting cataphracti terminators. We're going to be getting...
Well, there's some interesting things in there that I hadn't spotted before, and I'm sure if anyone else has been watching all of the other Conquest videos that are out there, probably know this already. But we spotted we're at least going to get a representative of every captain, or every Primaris leader model. So apothecaries, chaplains, captains, ancients. We're going to get 2 more lieutenants.
Yeah.
And we're on the Death Guard side. We're going to get something that I wasn't actually expecting until I saw the model, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, we're going to be getting Typhus.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that because Typhus is one of the minis I'd actually been thinking of picking up outside of Conquest to go with my little Death Guard force.
Yep.
So it was a really pleasant surprise.
It was a case of I was also thinking, well, what can I add to each force to make them a bit more interesting? Now, I'd already started on some Bloodraven-y stuff, so I'm just going to sort of expand on that to have a little bit on the sides to go alongside the main army for games like Kill Team or any other small skirmish game that we want to come up with. But on the Death Guard side, I was just like, well, if I'm going to throw something to add to this, I might add the special character Typhus. That'd be pretty cool, or Mortarion. Go for my second Primarch.
Yeah.
But seeing as we're getting Typhus anyway, I'm probably going to get Mortarion in my future just to sit on my shelf next to Guilliman and argue with him.
Yeah.
And not actually ever see a battlefield.
I mean, it's funny because looking at the binder, I haven't read all of the Conquest magazine in as great a detail as I probably should if we're doing a review of it. But frankly, from my perspective, I'm more interested in the minis.
Yep.
That's why I signed up for Conquest. I still don't think, from what I've seen in the rules, that if you're playing the game the way that they are telling you to play the game, you're going to be having that much fun with it.
Yep.
I understand that it's aimed at people who are perhaps a lot younger than us, but I don't think that's really an excuse. 40k isn't that complicated a game. Yeah,
well, I think we're coming towards the end of the tutorials because we're starting to get into... as we'll see when we do what's coming up this month, we're starting to get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Of releases. We've now had vehicles introduced, we've had psychers introduced, we've got troops and the moving and shooting and stuff. So I suspect that over the next couple of months we're going to be getting the rules and learning of the game section is going to reflect the just hammering in, this is your basics, and eventually what seems to be implied by the way that the binders are laid out, because you get helpful dividers for each section of the magazine, and they have their own table of contents which gives you a suggested order for the way you store your magazines or your pages. One of them there's tutorials, which is what we're in at the moment, and then there's just rules. So I suspect that maybe a couple of months' time, we might just get the 40k rules, as you can find them in pretty much any 40k starter set, that 8-page fold-out.
Yeah.
In an issue of Conquest, this is your rules section. You can refer to the tutorial section for a breakdown of various things, but these are the rules that you can refer to on the fly, and then probably get pages full of stats for the Space Marines and Death Guard when they bring in the full stat lines.
Yeah, but what I was going to say, and I think we'll probably touch on this a little bit more in an upcoming video, we haven't been playing 40k for a long while now.
Yeah.
We've been playing games like Wild West Exodus, Drop Zone, Paul and Steve have been playing Drop Fleet.
Yep.
What's the other one we've been playing?
We took a look at Dystopian Wars.
Yeah, Dystopian Wars. Games like that, which are a little bit more alternate activations, a little bit more skirmish level rather than the massive armies, but in a way that Painting the Other Minis hadn't really. the painting my Ultramarines up has really made me want to play 40k again.
Yep.
And, you know, obviously I don't have enough Primaris right now to do a game of any real size, but it's really getting me infused for, like, maybe I'll have a look at Kill Team. I know you and Paul had fun with that. You played one game.
Yeah, we admittedly had a few issues, but that was basically we were trying to unlearn what we had learned.
Yeah.
But I suspect that Kill Team is a fantastic small game if you want to get into the 40k universe and 40k gaming, but not actually do a full army because you don't know which army you like to go and you want to. You like a box of Skitarii and you like those Necron warriors or Immortals, or you want a Death Watch squad. That's the game that allows you to play all of that sort of stuff and really focus on small scale gaming, because our friend Mike, who we've mentioned before as our resident tournament player, him and his missus love Kill Team because it fits really well on their small gaming table.
Yeah, they live in London, so they can't have space.
Yeah, so basically, if you can see it on the thing, we've got a leaf from our dining room table here. The board will fit in this leaf easily. You don't need. You can have all of the rest of the space to have your stat cards and your traps and your snacks, and just play across the table and still have an interesting in-depth game. That's Kill Team.
And that's what I'm thinking would be a better introduction to something fun you could do with the amount of models you've got at this point in your Conquest journey, if you like. I think you've got enough. You obviously could use like the vehicles
Or the aggressors.
But you've got enough of the regular people and a couple of character models either side, I think.
Yeah.
Well, this month we've got a character model. I'm sure you could use him as a proxy for something.
Yes.
Guard. And you've got your Poxwalkers and your Death Guard. And well, I think you could have some good fun with Kill Team with where we are now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's enough to have a great game of 40k yet.
Not yet, but it's getting there.
It is getting there slowly. I reckon, another couple months maybe, and then you'll have enough to do maybe 500 points aside.
Yeah,
something like that.
So, shall we get into what we've received this month?
Yeah.
Okay, so issue 11, the one that you've already cracked open, is the Primaris Aggressors.
Yeah.
Now these are not the Primaris version of Terminators.
No.
We've got a lot of people, when the Primaris were first things, so the Primaris Intercessors are replacing the Tactical Marines. The Reavers are going to replace Scouts. The Aggressors are going to replace Terminators, and Interceptors will replace the Assault Marines. Completely not. Whilst battle line squads are battle line squads, so you can say that Intercessors and Tactical Marines are fairly interchangeable if you don't take any special weapons or heavy weapons. Aggressors are not Terminators. They don't have deep striking capability. They move just as fast, or maybe faster?
Probably faster with these ones, because you've got auto-hitting flamers, so you're always going to advance them.
Yeah.
Unless you want to charge with them.
Yes. And they do things, they are much more of a fire support unit than a teleporting, grab an objective, punch anything that needs to be punched unit.
Yeah.
They do have a pair of power fists. These ones are the Flamestorm Gauntlet bones, so they've got a pair of flamers attached to these power fists.
Yeah.
And they are a walking wall of fire.
I think they are much more about denying your opponent's charging.
Yeah.
So you put them out the front and you hope that they will dissuade enemy models from getting into the things that are behind them. They are screening units.
Yes. These are the guys that you're going to use to deny and take on those hordes of things. These are the perfect counter for a great big blob of Poxwalkers.
Yep. Now, I will admit, if I was building the kits, if I had the kit with both options, I'd want the bolters, not the flamers, because I think they're a bit more general purpose.
The bolters are the other version of aggressors you can get are bolt storm gauntlets, so they've got a pair of assault bolters essentially underneath their power fist, and they've got frag grenade launchers. Now they're a little bit more multi-purpose. They've got a little bit more in the way of what am I going to say? Adaptable firepower. And if you're a loyal son of Dawn like myself, you can also use their the Imperial Fist chapter tactic, bolter drill with the Boltstorm gauntlets, and just keep rolling firepower. I've actually got 6 Boltstorm gauntlet aggressors. I'm actually kind of looking forward to having these guys on the thing because one of my everyone's going to say it, so I'm going to say it as well. I really liked fire bats in StarCraft, so flame troopers taking out the Tyranid swarms and the zombies and anyone stupid to get in the way is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying I would take the bolters. I really enjoyed painting the flamers. I think the flamers look cooler, ironically, given that they're flamers. And I think they're still going to be fun minis to put on the table. I don't expect that they will survive very long because they are a relatively shiny unit that people will tend to plink off. But, you know, every shot that they're putting into a squad like that is a shot they're not putting into something else.
Yeah. Now, the difference in there, because the Gravis armour is much bulkier, they've got an extra point of toughness, so toughness 5 compared to toughness 4.
Yeah.
And they have about the same everything else. So they are chunkier, they've got an interesting set of weapons, and they are going to be the unit of, look here, you need to deal with these guys, otherwise they're going to cause you problems.
Yeah.
But there are several types of units that you can have like that in 40k, so if everyone is focused on, oh, those aggressors are going to cause me problems, I'm going to take them out, then your Hellblasters hit them, or your Terminators hit them, or your Psycho just pops out of thin air and punches someone in the face.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to be fun to play with, I think. And they definitely fit a niche that the army doesn't have at the moment. Because your Reavers are your assault troops, your Inceptors are your longer range troops. These guys are really there to counter hordes. And at this point, the Death Guard, I should say, not the Death Watch, definitely have a nice little horde. Yeah,
a horde that can grow with each kill.
Yeah.
So once that cascading effect starts happening, then it gets a bit more dangerous. But moving on, we get in issue 12 the first Death Guard character. This gentleman is known as a Foul Lightspawn. And I have no idea what he is. So that's going to be very interesting for me to find out.
I think he's the guy who upgrades grenades.
Right, that does make sense, considering he seems to be holding a grenade and a tank of something. And he's got a little nurgling dude that's also holding a grenade.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love the Nurgling. The Nurgling is probably the best thing we get this month. But he again is going to be interesting if you're playing little games already with these guys. Probably not playing with like stratagems and things. In fact, I don't think you can get.
Yeah, they haven't been introduced yet.
You can't get stratagems because you don't have HQs aside from anything else for your Death Guard. I don't think he's a HQ. I think he's an elite.
Yep.
But he gives that force something that it's been lacking, which is mortal wounds. With the stratagem, you can use him and huck a bunch of grenades at people, and then you've got mortal wounds, and the Primaris have their librarians. So
yeah, so it's an interesting game changer that brings in interesting ideas from different types of rules, rather than here's a Primaris Psyker, here's a Death Guard Psyker. So it's.
I think it's also the first unit that the Death Guard are getting which buffs other units around them. The Primaris already have a Psyker who can cast various spells,
and the Lieutenant who is just do better.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Okay. Into issue 13, And we get the third part of our trifecta of Conquest, scenery.
Yep.
So we get a Minotaurum crate and a bunch of barrels and crates and stuff. So you, for those of you who don't have terrain already, can start making that flat battlefield with the drawn pictures on, starting to really become 3D and pop out, and you start to see how these things can affect it. So that's in issue 13, and probably starts going into the rules about cover and terrain. And also apparently discusses what warp travel is in the lore section.
Fair enough.
And in issue 14, a large dry brush and a pot of Mechanicus Standard Grey.
You need some Mechanicus Standard Grey.
You're joking. I use a lot of it.
No, I'm not joking. It is standard. You need it. You know, there's a reason that the Mechanicus...
Yes. It's the reason that every battleship starts painted like that. So we've got something for Death Guard, something for the Primaris, a bit of terrain, and a hobby.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they're going to ask you to dry brush the grey over things. So I'm not sure what you would dry brush grey onto. But then I'm not a big dry brusher, so...
It's
I might actually learn something from the hobby section.
It's they've always done things to update models that would be perfect for it. Now, what they might say is dry brush it onto the bases to give because all GW bases have this sort of stippled effect on them. Now, this might be to just make them a bit more interesting, a bit more proprietary, and also gives the glue something to adhere to if you're not using plastic glue.
Yeah.
If you're using like super glue or something, it just gives something to key off of. That's the word I was looking for. And it also really helps when you're using texture paints like we have for our basing material.
Although I'm also going to have to redo all of my basing because I don't think the snow is going to work very well.
Okay. So what they might suggest, and we'll find this out when we look into the magazines, is they might suggest you just do dry brushing on the bases to match sort of the base of the mat. So you've got like an urban effect, and it also teaches how you can see really well when a dry brushing is working on a base because only the raised edges will be doing it. So that'll be interesting. It also might do it on something like the tank. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I've already looked ahead because you can find out what's coming up in the next month and what the next 4 months' releases will be on the Hatchet Partworks website for Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. And we're going to be getting another Death Guard character. This seems to be some sort of apothecary type character. So, like a medic. So, a Death Guard medic might be an interesting affair. A interesting selection of models for the Primaris.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah. You are getting 2 more intercessors. So we'll have a squad of 5 intercessors.
Yeah.
2 Hellblasters.
Yeah.
And an Inceptor.
Yeah. It's a strange mix. I mean, the thing is, I've got quite a lot now waiting to go. If I didn't, I might be tempted to try and order multiple copies of that, because if you order 3 copies, you get a squad of 6 Hellblasters, which is slightly above minimum.
Yep.
A squad of 3 Inceptors, which is minimum.
Yep.
And a 6 intercessors, which doesn't quite tally up with the 3 that you've already got.
Yeah.
But you can do a squad of 5 and a squad of...
Yeah. You could do something interesting with a sergeant. Go and get a painting tutorial from G-Dubs themselves and get a free intercessor or something.
Yeah.
But so it's an interesting mix. I can see why they've put the Inceptor in there. They want to start introducing the flying rule now that we've got terrain being played with. Though I'm not entirely sure why they didn't just drop the entire 3-man squad.
Well, I'm guessing that they wanted to round out the intercessors.
Yes, but then we get a pair of Hellblasters that's also just sort of hanging there. And if they'd done 3 Hellblasters to match up with the 3 intercessors, would have been, you know, I wouldn't say reasonable, but it would have been understandable.
It does seem a bit random.
It does seem a bit random, but does that mean in the future we're also going to get another odd tail end, like another 2, like an Inceptor and another Primaris and another Hellblaster or something like that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We've still got 3 Reavers, which is an odd number.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting at some point we'll maybe get 2 Reavers.
Yeah, true.
3
Hellblasters
and an Inceptor,
so,
or 2 Hellblasters and an Inceptor, and then the last one is a Hellblaster and an Inceptor and
something else. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? And for our scenery next month, we're also going to be getting another Minotaurum crate sprue. So we'll have 2 of those and all of the sundry bits that go with it. And then it seems to be another pot of paint. Don't know which one though. So they seem now to be falling into a interesting cycle. Each month, one thing for your Death Guard, one thing for your Space Marines, a bit of scenery, and a pot of paint. Now, however long that lasts, because looking at the poster, which shows you what you're get eventually going to run out of pots of paint. But that seems to be a reasonable amount of time. Now that they're bringing in more advanced painting techniques, you've got the extra week and the extra paint to do something interesting with your models. Each month, if you're having much more fun with the Death Guard than you are with the Space Marines, or vice versa, you've got one thing each month, and it's not just weeks and weeks of here's one faction's models, which is something that happens with the Lord of the Rings magazine. I remember quite a long run of here, have a character from the Fellowship each month, and I was just like, yeah, okay, can I get some more orcs, please? I'm running out of orcs for them to slay.
Yeah.
And a bit of terrain to fight over. That will start filling out collections quite nicely. And if you're splitting the collection with a friend, it means that each of you get something every week to do for your hobby.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I'm still really enjoying it, obviously. As I said, I've really been reinvigorated to do more 40k stuff by painting up these Christmas and birthday money on even more Primaris. So by the time we get to the end of Conquest, I'm going to have a ridiculous force of big boys.
Yep. So yeah, I'm still enjoying it. It's very relaxing to paint, and it's nice to have something, again, as we say every time, it's nice to have something that comes in every month that you go, oh, that's going to be interesting to paint. I'm not going to get bored doing another, here's a new character, or here's a couple more Space Marines, or here's a box.
It is nicely paced. I mean, as I have kind of intimated over the course of the chat, I'm really eager to start playing with these miniatures, and I feel like we've got enough stuff that we can see what the army is going to be like, but we're not quite there to start playing with it yet, which is a strange kind of position to be in.
Yeah. I'm definitely sure you can have some very fun games with the collections you have now. Don't let that stop you. But obviously we're quite used to the idea of full armies, or armies that meet a certain set of criteria, like the matched play rules and that sort of thing.
I mean, I guess what I'm comparing it to in my head is we are, how many months in now? 4 months in? 3 months that we've built, I guess.
Yeah. So we're up to issue 14 now. So 3.5 months. Yeah.
And we're spending about £40 a month, so we're about £100 in now because the first month was cheaper.
Yeah.
If we had bought 2 Get Started boxes, we would probably have more miniatures for both, or a more usable force.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly if with the tank. It's a strange kind of thing.
We would certainly have a much more of a solid base to go, right, and now I want to do the interesting things of I'll take more aggressors, or I'm going to do a slightly more vehicle force for my Death Guard, and so I'm going to grab a couple more tanks, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the way he's doing this, especially when you're introducing someone to the game and some rules, and you're trying not to go, look, you've just bought £100 worth of models, here, you now paint them all.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
From a painting perspective, the pacing is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, alongside all of this, I've done loads of Wild West Exodus miniatures, and I think some Drop Zone miniatures over the past few months. It hasn't dominated my hobby life in the way that I had vaguely worried it might.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I guess I do think I was hoping for a little bit more by this point. But that said, I'm not angry about it, and I'm looking forward, especially since we looked at that poster, to getting more further ahead. So it'll be very interesting to see what they start doing, I suppose, February, March next year, because we know what's coming in January now.
Well, the ones coming out are the ones that are either available in shops now or coming out in shops over December. They give the release dates. I think on the 19th is the release of the next issue, as it were, for the December release. So we won't see what we're getting in January until the end of December, I suspect.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what else I'm really curious about. I will be needing to put Ultramarines transfers on these guys at some point. Now, I have a bunch of them laying around. I'm curious if Conquest will ever address transfers as a thing.
It may do. It may do. Or it might, when the... because I don't think we've got a white yet. No, we don't. We don't have a white yet. When white comes out, they might try to start teaching you an advanced technique of freehanding.
Oh, I hope not.
Freehanding Ultramarine symbols is not it's super hard, but...
I looked at some tips, and I'm sure I could do it with enough patience, but I'm sure I could also mess it up a million times trying to get it right.
So yeah, so transfers might be an issue. That might be a hobby magazine. So here's 2 or 3 packs of transfers for both Death Guard and Space Marines, if you want them. So yeah, that's this Conquest update complete, I would say.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. Join us next time for another long ranting ramble.
Ciao.